Thank you so much, Wally. Thank you for the introduction. So my name is Harish, and yeah, before I get started, what an amazing WQ uh, champion talk we had, right? It was amazing. Thank you so much, Lavina, to coming forward, sharing your pain, your journey, and then your victories right now. Because I'm sure all these 300 plus people are definitely getting impacted. They got inspired. But apart from that, the people across the globe are getting inspired because these stories not only remain with these 300 people, but it will go across, right? So thank you so much for coming forward and sharing. Okay, so my name is Harish. As Polly introduced, I am basically from Maharashtra, but have been living in Bangalore almost 25 years now. And I've been working 25 years in the software industry. And I stay with my wife and two daughters. So today's session will keep literally interactive. So a lot of questions I'll be keep asking, and I'll ask you to type the answers in the chat. Okay. So as I was telling, I stay with my wife and two daughters. My elder daughter is studying in engineering, and the younger one is in 7th standard. So now you have to go and type कि आपको देख के लगता नहीं कि आपकी बेटी इंजीनियरिंग में पढ़ती है, तो मुझे अच्छा लगेगा, right? So so yeah, just joking. So yeah, so that was my little introduction. So today we are going to talk about very important topic, which is dear to all of us, right? Which is about hair health, right? So I'm sure the way I was doing it, ये Zoom call join करने के पहले, I'm sure you would have gone in front of the mirror, right? And did something like this, made sure कि आप अच्छे लग रहे हैं, and then you have joined the call, right? Yeah, because that's the value of the hairs we have in everybody's life, right? So with that, let me share my screen and we'll get started quickly. Okay, yeah. So this is what we are going to talk about, understanding the hair health. Okay, and the person running behind the hairs, that is the nightmare, and we don't want you to reach there. That's why. This presentation will give you a little bit understanding of how we can take care of our health. Okay, so before we get started with the topic, I want you to type now. So I want you to type in the chat, yes, if this has happened to you anytime in your life. कि आप सो रहे थे, सुबह उठे, उठते ही आपने देखा कि 4-5 बाल आपके पिलो पे है और आप एकदम पैनिक हो गए. Means you got up in the morning, you saw 4-5 hair strands on your pillow and you got panicked. If this has happened to you, I want you to type yes. Yes, keep typing, keep typing. Yes, yes, yes. And I'll not be surprised. We have 300 plus people. I'll not be surprised if I see 300 plus yes right now here. Because this has happened almost to every one of us, right? Because, and if you see, you are not alone here, right? Everybody has, so all of us are together. So now, so our hairs have a funny way of telling the story of what is happening inside our body, right? So it could be the lack of nutrition that is happening, or it could be some hormone imbalance that is happening, or it could be our stress level or our sleep pattern. Lot of things that are affecting the hairs are trying to tell the story. But what we are going to do today is together we are going to decode these stories, and we are going to understand how we can make our hairs little healthier, right? And we are going to do that together. So doesn't matter if you are here for your hair fall problem, you have your dandruff problem, it could be thinning of hairs or any other hair problem. But at the end of this session, you are going to get practical tips which you will be able to use them right away. Okay, so that's what this today's topic is about. Okay, let us go to the next one. So first basic question we need to ask ourselves is why exactly the hairs matter. So let's look at this particular picture. So on the left side, we have a before shampoo picture, right side, the after shampoo picture, right? So on the left side, we can see little stressed out person, thoda messy bhi hai, and is not energetic and fully dull kind of person. And on the right side, shining hairs, nicely combed and very smiling person with confidence, right? So same person, but with that one difference of hairs, what a big difference it can make to us, right? Right? So that's why I like to call the hairs are the only crown that we never take off our head, right? And because our hairs are not only limited to how we look, but they impact impact our mood, they impact our self-esteem, everything impacts because of just the hairs, right? So that's what I means, as I told, that's why I like to call it as the hairs are the crown that we never take off. This is one sentence I want you to just keep so that you will give the enough of importance to this crown. Okay, so because this taking care of hairs is not just about shampoo or the conditioner, it is about what is happening inside the body, and we are going to look at that. Okay, so as we now we know that we need to take care of means why the hair actually matters to us. So let us see. तो हम सबको चाहिए कि हमारे बाल अच्छे होने चाहिए, we all want that, but on a ground reality we all face the problems. I saw so many yeses, so all of us are facing problems. So what are the common problems that we generally face? First problem what I generally see is the frizzy hairs, right? Frizzy hairs मतलब बाल ऐसे ऐसे मतलब एकदम ठीक से बैठते नहीं है, they will be little opened up, right? And as the saying goes, what they say generally is the more the moisture in the air, your frizziness of the hairs will increase, right? And that's why they generally say my hairs, the people who have frizzy hairs, they say that my hairs can predict the rain better than any weather app, right? Because the moisture increases and your hairs start freezing and you know, okay, बारिश होने वाली है, right? नेक्स्ट बिग प्रॉब्लम इज हेयर फॉल. हेयर फॉल मतलब वो डेंजरस सिचुएशन जहां पे हमें दिखते हैं मोर hair strands in the shower drain than those are on my head, right? So those are the dangerous situation, right? Next is a dandruff, right? They say that okay, it's not so snowing, it is just my scalp releasing the dandruff, right? So that big problem it can be, and a lot of people face this problem also. Then weak hairs. Weak hairs मतलब बाल टूटने लगते हैं. The moment you start brushing, you will start seeing the hairs coming out and they are sticking onto your comb, right? So it's like the brushing feels like a demolition project of the scalp, right? It can be as bad as that. And then the split end, this is one of the another big problem, especially people having the long hairs like ladies, right? Split ends is like your hairs are giving an audition for a role of a fork, right? With the 3 strands, right? So that's how the hairs start looking, right? And this also is a very, very big problem with people. Okay, so now we have seen why the hairs matter. We saw what are the common problems. Now we need to see कि ये हमारे enemies क्या है, क्यों हमें problems होने लगते हैं, right? So let's meet these enemies. The first and the most okay, so before going there, so what we are seeing here is the outside problem, right? As I was telling, the hairs are actually telling you what is happening inside. तो ये जो सारे problems है, these are like the कालिया और the सांबा, जो गब्बर सिंह के जो लोग होते थे ना, जो just आके जाते थे और डरा के जाते थे, these problems. These are like the samba and the kalia. But what we are going to see, these are the real gabbar singhs of the hair problems, right? So like a simple thing is tight ponytail. This could be because you're the fashion, the way you want to fashion. So you like to tie your hairs too tightly, or you have a habit of doing that. But what happens is it may make you look little sleeker, but the problem is it'll impact your hair roots and they will start becoming little more soft, and then the hairs will start coming out. So that's how the hair fall starts. So make sure that you don't do this. Then blow drying and the straighteners that a lot of people use, that I generally call as hair barbecue, because a lot of heat is getting pumped onto your hairs. Definitely they are making you to look better for a day or two, but in the long run the heat from these instruments are stripping out the natural moisture from hairs, and your hairs will start becoming more and more drier. जैसे झाड़ू होता है ना, वैसे लगते हैं. I'm sure you would have seen at least few people who look like their hairs are like very very dry. मतलब है बाल लेकिन ऐसे लगता है कि बस एक झाड़ू लटका हुआ है, right? We don't want to reach to that stage, so make sure you don't use that. The next thing is the harsh chemicals, especially the younger generation. They do it in the name of a fashion where they try to color their hairs in a certain color, or they use chemical shampoos, the chemical based shampoos, or a lot of chemical treatment they do for hair. Definitely, again, it is for a day or two, it will make you look better, or it can serve your fashion purpose. But in the long run, they are stripping off the moisture and a lot of nutrients from this. So the top three are what are the external things, but the below three are something what is happening internally, like your bad lifestyle. Most important thing is the bad lifestyle. Bad lifestyle मतलब क्या है? हमारी खाने पीने की आदतें हैं, the kind of the carbohydrate rich food that we eat, the junk food that we intake, it could be alcohol, it could be smoking. So anything that falls under a bad lifestyle, everything can affect our hairs, right? Then the stress level, this is the most hidden. This is the main thing. I'll call it, the last two I'll call it as the main gabbar singhs, or the big villains of the hair problems, right? Because these stress, as it is written, it is invisible barber. मतलब ये हमारे बाल कट करते जा रहा है, हमें पता भी नहीं चल रहा है. It is so impactful for us. So make sure that we learn to manage the stress, right? The next is the sleep. The bad the sleep, the hair act like in the horror movies, right? So sleep is one of the most ignored health pillar, not only in the hair problems but across. Like Lavina also was talking about that, right? So her sleeping pattern or sleeping habits were very bad uh, before she started the journey, but now she makes sure that her sleep is good, and I'm sure her health is improved, and this has played an important role. The same way, it is going to play a very, very important role for our hairs as well. Okay, so now we have seen what are the big problems. So the one of the most important thing for removing the problem is to understand किसके against हमें fight करना है. तो हमने तो वो देख लिए. So all these are. So now let's flip the coin and let's meet the real heroes, Jay Virus of the hairs, right? ये हमारे जो हमें help करेंगे, right? जब भी हमें hair problem होता है, the first blame हम किस पे डालते हैं? हमारे शैम्पू पे. हमें लगता है कि एक शैम्पू है जिसने मुझे प्रॉब्लम कर दिया. वी ट्राई टू चेंज द शैम्पूज वन बाय वन, but our problem will still remain there, because it may not be only what is happening externally. It could be just something internally which हमने कभी ध्यान ही नहीं दिया, right? So these are the certain things that we need to pay very big attention to, like protein. This is the main building block of our hairs, because 95% of our hairs are made up of केराटिन, विच इज अ काइंड ऑफ अ प्रोटीन. तो जो आदमी मतलब जिम में जा रहा है और उसको बॉडी बिल्डिंग करना है, तो उसको रोज प्रोटीन लेना पड़ेगा ना. सो वी हैव टू थिंक आवर हेयर्स आल्सो लाइक दैट. दे आर गोइंग टू जिम एंड वी नीड टू प्रोवाइड देम required amount of protein. So we need to make sure that we are eating enough amount of protein on a daily basis, because they need it. The next thing is important things. The next hero is the water, right? हमें पता है every cell in our body needs water to survive, right? But the lesser amount of water we drink, the drier our hairs get, and the more they dry, they start becoming brittle. So we need to make sure that we hydrate our body in a right way, right amount of water. Then the healthy fats, this is another very, very important things, because healthy fats are they are like, they give the shine to our hairs, right? So especially the omega-3, right? And then vitamins, minerals, they are the caretakers and the anchors. So like vitamin D, vitamin B12, A, C, then iron, zinc. So if you have low hemoglobin, it is going to impact your hairs. If you have vitamin D less or vitamin B12, I'm sure आपने अगर blood test किया होगा तो 95% of the people have deficiency of these vitamins. You are going to face the hair problems. So we need to make sure that we are providing our body with all the nutrients that my body needs, right? क्योंकि हमारा जो scalp है, that is like a ground, right? Soil. अगर soil में ही nutrient नहीं रहेगा तो हमारी फसल कहाँ से अच्छी होगी, right? So now you might say कि okay, I'm making sure that I'm eating on all these things naturally, everything I'm making sure I'm eating properly, right? But हो सकता है कि आपकी cooking method जो है, that itself is not right, and that is destroying all the nutrients that you are thinking कि आप खा तो रहे, but body को मिल नहीं रहा है, because everything is getting destroyed by the way you are cooking. So one homework I have is you go back and talk to your coach and understand. I think Lavina also was talking about that. She learned how to cook right way. So I want you to understand from your coach what are the right way of cooking methods so that I don't lack on any of these nutrients, right? And the next important thing is yoga, right? हमने देखा sleep और स्ट्रेस का कितना इंपॉर्टेंस है हमारी हेल्थ के लिए, हमारे हेयर्स के लिए. सो द योगा प्लेज एंड मेडिटेशन, डेफिनेटली दीज आर द रिलैक्सेस ऑफ आवर बॉडी. द मोर आवर माइंड इज रिलैक्स, आवर बॉडी इज रिलैक्स, the better our hairs will be, or overall health will be. So we need to make sure that we are paying attention to all these factors as well. So these are few helpful yoga poses which are specifically important for hair related problems, like child pose, balasana, what we call, then downward facing dog, adho mukha svanasana, and then the shoulder stand, which is sarvangasana. All these help to improve the blood circulation or blood flow towards your scalp, and that's how they improve your hair health. Okay, so all these things now we have seen. So normally the problems that start, those are part of our daily routine. So if we improve our daily routine that we do on regular basis, we can improve our health and they can play a big role, right? Most important thing is जब भी comb करे gently करे, जैसे हम किसी celebrity को बुला रहे हैं, right? Do it very gently, right? Then regular trimming, especially ladies or girls having longer hairs, because the split end starts toward the end. So if you start trimming, the splitting will not start reaching to the top end, and the hairs will not become more and more brittle. So definitely it will not, the trimming will not make your hairs grow longer quickly, but it will stop the split ends properly. Then scalp cleaning, definitely this is important, because as I told, scalp is our fertile soil. जितना हम उसका ध्यान रखेंगे, the hairs are going to grow better and better, right? So that is important. The below things are again important, like using the right products, right? जिससे मैंने बताया कि you don't go behind some chemical treatments or chemical based products. Make sure that you are using the mild non-chemical based as much as possible, and your hair type friendly. You need to understand what hair type you have and choose your products based on that, and use those type of products, because those will help your hairs to grow better, right? Shampoo तो use करना है, but overdo भी नहीं करना है, बहुत ज्यादा नहीं करना है, otherwise it will cause a problem again. So don't do over washing of your hairs, because it will strip off again the moisture, right? Then we have to protect our hairs from our the sun rays and the pollution, because they again play a very important role. So use scarf, hat, or apply the hair serum, because those are our sunscreen for our hairs, right? And don't brush on the wet hairs, right? So wet hairs पे अगर हम बहुत ज्यादा करेंगे, तो wet hairs are like the overcooked noodles. बहुत टच भी करेंगे तो टूट जाएगा, वैसे ही हेयर्स होते हैं. So lot of people in a hurry, they try to comb it very fast, so these can cause problems, right? So hair brush भी use करना है, तो we need to make sure that we are using the right type of hair brush or comb, what we say, right? So with all these things, if we take care, we make sure that we are providing enough of nutrition that my hairs and my body needs, and we take care of these regular daily habits, definitely our hairs are going to grow better and better. Now the conclusion is, हमने सारा देख लिया. हमने देख लिया हेयर्स हमारे लिए इंपॉर्टेंट है, दे प्ले अ रोल इन आवर सेल्फ एस्टीम एंड दे मेक अस फील बेटर, right? So now we have, and our hairs are telling the real story about our health, right? So we need to make sure that we are giving the right amount of the importance that our hairs need, or the care our hairs need, and then they really become our real crown, and that we don't want to take off anytime, right? And that's what I wanted to share, and back to our fantastic host.